right, so we've got Goring Rush, which is from that hippo-based.
I think that'd be the Minotaur.
Oh, you're right.
Necrotic Shroud. And then we'll re-roll the Reach to the Blaze.
Severed from Dreams.
That's the Kalashtar. Okay, cool.
Okay, so if you've joined since we've done this already, and you might not have known, so we took all the racial traits and we put them in a randomizer, and we're trying to come up with a homebrew race based on these 3 traits that we just rolled for. Goring Rush is immediately after you use a dash action on your turn and move at least 20 feet. You can make a melee attack with horns as a bonus. So this race has horns.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Charger feat, you know?
Yeah, and then...
Horns are some sort of weapon to charge at people with.
Oh, that's... yeah. Okay, Necrotic Shrouds from Azamars. You can use your action to unleash the divine energy within yourself, causing your eyes to turn into... I gotta click in here, sorry.
This might be one that's been updated in Monsters of the Multiverse, too.
Oh, yeah, this is a very long one. So this is the Fallen Azamar.
Yeah, but it's basically the one that you give yourself an aura, and it hurts you too, but it gives you an aura that kind of like sucks the life out of things around you.
Yeah, so you got this divine energy from within yourself. You have a pool of darkness coming from your eyes, and it's like ghostly wings on your back, and then you transform, and so
flightless wings though.
Flightless wings, so you can deal extra necrotic damage. It equals your level. Yeah, so basically you transform into this like dark version of yourself, and you do necrotic damage. Yeah. And this last racial trait, Severed from Dreams, the Kalashtar sleep, but they don't dream. Instead, their minds draw back from memories of their previous spirits, previous memories of their otherworldly spirits.
We probably won't get into that too. The Kalashtar lore is pretty interesting because they've got a quarry, so they kind of have a dual mind because they have a spirit living in them.
But so the vibe that I'm kind of getting from these 3 racial traits together is this creature may not necessarily be like humanoid or like look like a human. Maybe they've got this horn or whatever, but they transform and they have this like shadow self. And maybe when they dream, they're accidentally accessing the shadow self, and like all the painful memories of the terrible things they did when they were their shadow selves. It haunts their dreams. But when they rage or whatever it is, when they turn into their shadow selves, they just become this like crazy monster, kind of like who said that? Oh, James. Yeah, it's like a nightmare invasion slasher villain.
Freddy Krueger style.
Yeah, so it's like you have this duality of this character who maybe this race is very calm and timid when they're in their normal plain self, and then but they have this dark side that haunts them.
The Goring Rush, so it was based on horns, but my brain also kind of went to the dinosaur that has like a really hard skull and they bump heads all the time.
Oh yeah.
I always forget their name, but I'm kind of picturing, so maybe they have like a crown of bone and a really hard skull they can charge with.
So if you're upright on 2 legs, is there a better way to charge than just like ramming your head like some kid on a playground?
Throw yourself in the air, plank style.
Because I like that crown of bones could be like a remnant from their shadow self. Because when they transform, they become all like spectral and skeletal.
Bastiodon, the Pokemon, yeah. Rampardos, or whatever it is, yeah.
But maybe those like skeletal horn head is like a reminder of their self.
Cammy brought up a rhino beetle. Okay, that sounds pretty cool, actually.
And if they have flightless wings, like beetles kind of fly. Like
yeah. Okay, now I'm getting Nerubian vibes from Warcraft. Going back to Warcraft again. They're like almost like undead beetles. They're part of the Scourge. They work with the undead, but they're like giant spiders, and some of them are like scarab-like.
Oh yeah, scarab. I could see that.
Yeah, for Nerub, all that stuff.
And if you've got that like Egyptian mythology, like you've got the what is it when you're riding to the next place?
Mummified? What?
No, I don't remember I don't remember the terminology anymore. But essentially, like you're looking forward to this afterlife, but it's based on your deeds of good or evil. Maybe this is a creature who got stuck in that land. So I guess so this kind of sounds a bit like Moon Knight, and I don't want to spoil that.
Taryn just brought up Khepri from Egyptian mythology.
Okay. Maybe you have to look at Khepri real quick.
Yeah.
Khepri. So I don't want to take this like this is from Moon Knight, but basically if you've seen that, it's like when they're in the sand on the boat, that place. I can't remember what the Egyptian terminology for that is, but
ferrying?
Yeah, they're pretty much like on the ferry to determine if they're righteous or not. So maybe this scarab beetle, rhino beetle, scarab, whatever sentient creature, they got stuck in this realm where they're in between getting decided if they're good or evil. So they're torn part way between those two. And they transform into the shadow side that's very destructive and kills.
That sounds pretty crazy, because I'm picturing like elves where they have this thing where they're reincarnated. What if an entire people that had something like that was suddenly severed from it, and so they now become like a more decrepit version of it? I'm still picturing those Nerubians where like they would make beetles out of like corpses around them and stuff. So like the necrotic shell, maybe they're, when they open up their like scarab like wings, it like lets out necrotic dust that begins to decimate themselves, but also those around them. And they got the Goring Rush with their big scarab horn.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing? It was severed from dreams. Oh yeah, and so the severed from dreams, that could involve,
if they're severed from this reality of eternal happiness.
Oh, and then the other thing is, so in Kalifstar Lord, the quarry are ones that like got out of the dream realm, but now there's like the bad ones that are still there that try to hunt down the quarry in the Kalifstar. So what if these are,
they're able to separate their shadow self from themselves?
What if they served the I sorry, I don't know all the names, but the quarry that they're hunted by the bad dream world people? What if there were servants to those dream world people, and they are these like scarab beetle type beings, but they've been severed from that world of dreams as well, and they don't thrive now, but maybe they still hold on to like hating the quarry that they were supposed to hunt in the first place?
Okay, maybe this is a little tangential from your idea, but these creatures, this race, they want to seek an afterlife of eternal happiness, but they have this dark side to them that prevents them from that. This specific race has been able to separate those two sides of themselves. So where they would turn like skeletal and become chaotic and destructive, they are able to become two separate beings. And the race that you play as a player is the good side, and you know that the skeletal, creepy, evil side's trying to hunt you down your whole life.
Yeah.
When you're dreaming, you see out of the eyes of the shadow self and the destructive, evil things that they're doing.
Getting some Doctor Strange vibes now. A little bit.
A little bit.
Not in a bad way. Like it just reminded me of that.
I do like having these like scarab, dung beetle, whatever aesthetic though.
Yeah, and Shard brought up, if you didn't want to do the horns, we could also go with something with saber teeth.
Oh, the quarry. You're right. Well, there you go.
The good and bad ones are both called quarry. Oh, they're both quarry. Okay, so there's just like the quarry that stayed in the dream world and those that didn't. I think that's the delineation, I think. Yeah, thank you, Philip. Yeah, I haven't read their lore in a hot minute.
Playing this race may be a little disruptive to a campaign if you're always fearing like something hunting you down, but it also sounds like a really cool role playing, like how do you overcome that fear of always being hunted down?
Yeah, so I picture them being like upright scarab people, you know, and they probably have an Egyptian look to them for sure. Yeah, so I don't want to make them another bug people, but they probably have some features that are bug-like, let's say.
Yeah. That's our theme for today.
Yeah, and
making bug races.
Yeah, and we could go with the horn. We could go with saber teeth. There's a lot of different ways you could go. And this seems like a fringe race. They probably keep to themselves, and they don't stick in one place too long unless they can hide really well.
They know that if they reproduce, they're creating more enemies that shift off from themselves. So they keep a very tight-knit community, but they probably have a very long lifespan too, and they choose not to, reproduce.
It'd be interesting if they joined up with a beholder, because beholders are very suspicious of like everything, and especially other beholders. But these things are also so suspicious of other things that maybe they kind of like have a shaky alliance with beholders.
You watch my back, I'll watch yours.
Yeah, so the beholder like disintegrates tunnels for them, but these things maybe they can dig in some way with their scarab-like features, and they help guard the beholder's lair, and so the beholder helps protect them because they want protection, right? Because they're being hunted. Beholders,
they can see, like, obviously they're like big eyes, but don't they have like an ability where they see things that aren't quite there?
So their main eyes create an anti-magic cone, so if someone's invisible they would see them.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Yeah,
so if the person who's shadow creature coming after their own type person, the beholder would anti-magic field that.
Yeah, Philip says we're giving too many good ideas. That's the hard thing, is like sometimes you get so many good ideas and you're like, oh, I can't use them fast enough. That's how I feel about brainstorming. If you do a desert tent campaign, another idea that I've had a lot of luck with is do a blue dragon, like an ancient or adult one with their big horn and their lightning powers, and flavor them to have like magneto powers, where their like lightning and static power gives them magnetic abilities. And they have like a thieves guild that they keep below the sands, and if they try to attack, the blue dragon will like magnetize everyone's stuff to like nearby stones so they lose their weapons, or even it magnetizes up to its horn. Just throwing out that idea because I had a lot of good luck. In your like one of your first campaigns, I used that, and you guys all got like buried alive because the blue dragon just collapsed its hideout on you guys.
Yeah.
And someone had to like you had some way to survive that was like pretty clutch. That was really cool.
Yeah. Shard says that you could transform while asleep, the Jekyll and Hyde style. That's kind of what I was saying too. Is like maybe if the creature is still combined before they like separate into the evil and the good side. Maybe when they're asleep is also like when they transform and do their evil deeds, and so they're haunted by that.